Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about how I style with my plants. So I'm just going to be sharing a few tips and traits that I've learned and kind of picked up on the way about how I use my plants as an extra decor piece and how I decide where to place them, how to style them, all of that good stuff. So my first tip is to find pots that match your decor style. My style is a little bit of a mix between maybe bohemian and mid-century modern, so I personally like to gravitate toward baskets and pots and plant decor pieces that match that style. I love natural warm colors like natural woods. I love terracotta. A lot of my plants are in terracotta because I love the color. It goes really well with my current decor style, and also terracotta is very easy to find. Another great plus for me in using terracotta planters is that they are very fast draining. So if you're someone who likes to overwater your plants like I do, terracotta is a definite must. But whatever your style is, just make sure you're thinking about that when you're buying planters or baskets. And if you do like terracotta, you can always paint over them. You can paint some designs on it to make it match your style. I personally like to do the reverse. I have this really pretty terracotta spray paint that I purchased off of Amazon, and I use that to paint any plant decor, a plant stand, or something that doesn't quite fit my current style. I love this spray paint so much. It's come so in handy in painting planters or plant stands or stools or anything that I just want to better fit my style. And like I said, I love terracotta. I love the look of it, so I naturally gravitate toward those warmer type of colors. My next tip is to use unconventional items as planters. So I personally really like to use candles. So whenever I go through a candle, I'll scrape out that extra wax, or I'll pop it in the freezer, and that helps the wax come off more easily. And then I'll save those little candle holders, and a lot of times I can find a plant that will fit into it. So this Hoya is currently inside of this candle holder. You can see that it's actually still inside of its nursery pot, and I just put that inside of the candle holder. It fits perfectly, you can tell, and it's just a really nice looking cover for this plant. I also have this Hoya Hindu rope that is also in this candle holder. This was a really pretty candle that I got from the Magnolia Target section. I actually bought it thinking it would be perfect use for a plant later down the line. Another thing that I love to use for plants is baskets. This is something that is pretty well known. They're pretty easy to find. Some of them can be pretty pricey, but if you just honestly go to thrift stores and look at their basket sections, I promise you'll find some really nice ones. And personally, that basket color, that rattan vibe, very much fits my decor style. So I love baskets. I love to use them for my plants. And it's also really easy because you don't need to take plants out of their nursery pots. You can just pop them in the basket, set them up, and it just looks so much better instantly. You may already even have some really nice baskets in your home that you can use. Just, try to approach some items that you may already have with a different perspective and think about how you can use them as plant decor. The other thing I love to do is to use unique bowls, mugs, cups as plant decor. So I personally am always on the lookout for some really pretty bowls or mugs that I can use, and I'll use it the same way that I will a basket. I'll just stick the nursery pot in it. I think it's just a very easy way to add some more uniqueness and personality to your space and to have plant decor that is not as conventional and that a lot of other people may not have. The third tip is one of my favorites. It's shelves. I love having shelf space. Shelves are so easy to just throw plants on. I feel like they're much easier to style than a tabletop or a dresser. It's just a perfect spot to put all of your plants on. I have quite a few shelves around my space, most of which I built specifically just for plant storage. And I like to vary between how I style my plants on shelves. I think it's really important to try to vary between the different plant sizes that you use. So if you have a taller plant on a shelf, try to put it next to a medium-sized plant or a smaller plant, or even a trailing plant, just to make sure that you add a little bit more depth and dimension to that space. The next tip that I would add is to try to hang some of your plants. I love hanging my plants. It adds so much more depth and dimension to your space. It draws the eye up and makes your place look greater and taller, and it's a great way to also find more space in your room or your house for plants. I would definitely look into hanging some of your plants from the ceiling. There's some really easy ceiling hooks that you can buy from Amazon or Target or anywhere. You can very easily use a macrame plant hanger, or you can even make your own, or just be creative and find a way to hang them from the ceiling. There's also some wall mounts that you can use to mount some of your plants on the wall. I've seen some people mount propagation jars onto their wall. That's another great option if you're wanting to do that. You can even look into hanging some of your air plants. I had seen this really pretty inspo pic on Pinterest of these air plant hangers that had a really cool looking weaving loom. So I decided to just make my own. I essentially just zoomed into the picture and looked at how those type of air planters were made, and I purchased the supplies on Amazon or Michaels, and I just made them my own. They were so simple to make, and I think they look really nice, and it's a very unique touch to any space and a great way to display some of your plants. You can even create something like this for some of your propagation jars. If you have some small ones, you can hang them from the ceiling in a similar fashion. The next tip is one that I think is pretty well known too, and that is to use plant stands or some kind of furniture, stools to elevate your plants. I think this also depends on how you want your space to look with plants. Some people like to have all of their plants in one room or on one wall that's facing a window, and they like that look of all the plants being cluttered together. Personally, I like the look of plants kind of being spaced out everywhere. I think it adds a little bit more of a jungle feel to the entire space, and because the plants are a little bit more spaced out from each other, I think it gives you more room and opportunity to purchase even more plants and spread them out. So I love plant stands. I love using anything really that will elevate a plant from the floor. I think anything that is going to elevate your plants from the ground will just add so much more to the space, make it look much more put together. And sometimes, since plant stands can be a little bit more on the pricier side, I think it's good to look at thrift stores and see what kind of stools or things they have there that you can use for plants, or even just purchasing some basic stools and spray painting them into a color or texture that fits more with your decor style. I think the most important takeaway is to just try to find unconventional items that you can use to store and display your plants. So for example, I have this shoe rack here that I used to have shoes on, and I did really like how it looked, but once I got more plants, I thought this would be a perfect place to display a lot of my plants in. So as you can see, I kind of just arrange them. I move them around pretty frequently, and I just arrange them based on how I think it would look better, but just making sure that you are trying to vary the height of those plants. So As you can see here, if I just put them all on one basic level, it just doesn't look as nice. You kind of lose some of the dramatic effect of the plants in the back, and it just doesn't look as appealing as if you were to raise up some of these plants in the back. So what I like to do is use something to raise up my plants. So you can either use another plant pot like this one that I have here. I just invert it and put the other plant on top. You can use some other kind of tin, pretty much just looking for anything that will add a little bit more height. And another great thing of having plants grouped together, even if it is in small quantities, is that they increase the humidity for each other. They help the other plants just grow, and they just like to be with other plants. Another way that I like to use plants as decor is in propagation jars. So I love to collect jars, whether it be mason jars, old wine bottles, old glass bottles, or any just really pretty jar. I love using these for propagating plants. I also love using some old Topo Chico bottles. You can use old wine bottles. So I would definitely recommend you to always be on the lookout for how to reuse and upcycle some really pretty old glass jars. And I just think they are perfect little additives and tiny little pieces of decor that just add a little bit more uniqueness to your space. My last tip is to use your plant tools as decor. So I love to have my watering can, my misting spray bottles, even my garden shears or some of my other tools on display. So those are all of the plant decor tips that I have. You know, a lot of this is very subjective and depends on your personal style. My personal decor style may not be yours, but this is how I like to incorporate plants into my space. I love using plants as decor in any space. I think it instantly makes a space look so much better and so much more welcoming, and just adds a little bit more of that natural outdoor feel. I hope you guys liked the video. Hopefully you were able to get a little bit more inspiration or ideas about how to decorate with your plants. If you have any other tips for how to use plants as decor that I didn't mention, please comment it down below and let me know how you like to style with your plants. But I will see you guys next time. Bye.